Welcome back, friends. In today's video, we're going to discuss some significant news. General Motors is cutting jobs, and it's raising a few questions about the future of the auto industry and really how it affects everyone. I found this article, and I used Google's new AI tool to create a conversation around the broader implications of these layoffs and really what this means for the economy and the future and what's going on in the world. I encourage you to listen closely to the AI-generated discussion and make sure you stick around until the end, where I'll be sharing my own thoughts and I won't be holding back.
Right, so today we're driving straight into the car world. General Motors is discontinuing two of their, pretty big cars, actually.
Yeah.
Chevy Malibu and the Camaro.
Yeah.
And we've got this article here from Saluv.com. Actually, it was published pretty recently on October 12th, just a couple days ago.
Okay.
And it's got us thinking,
Yeah.
Like, remember those days, cruising down the highway, windows down, hearing that engine roar?
Oh, yeah.
This feels bigger than just retiring a couple of cars.
Way bigger. Like, we're watching something change right in front of us.
Yeah.
The Malibu, it was on the market for what? Nearly 60 years, according to that article.
Yeah, almost.
Crazy.
It's like a lifetime for a car.
Practically, yeah.
Yeah.
And the Camaro, forget about it. That's a classic. I don't know. This is hitting me kind of differently.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it's not even just about the cars, right?
Right.
This article talks about over 1,600 people losing their jobs over at GM's Kansas plant.
Wow.
That's a lot of families.
Yeah, no kidding.
So, on one hand, you've got these legendary cars, like it's the end of an era, But then on the other hand, you have real people who are affected by this.
Absolutely.
So where do we even begin with all this?
Well, I think, the article sort of hints at it, that sedan sales have been declining. We've all seen it. Everybody and their mother is driving a truck or SUV these days.
Yeah.
But it would be interesting to really understand why that is,
Yeah, why is everybody obsessed with these big cars?
Yeah.
It can't just be that they need the space.
I think it's got to be more than just needing the space, right?
Wow.
It's got to be a little psychological.
Yeah.
Like some people say it's a status symbol.
Oh, yeah.
You're higher up, literally looking down on everyone else,
Yes, I see.
Or maybe, I'm in this big sturdy car, it's safe. It could be that.
Yeah, that's true. What about, families changing? Like, maybe more people have these big families now, or they just have more stuff to carry around. Like, those minivans, nobody wants to drive a minivan.
Right.
Oh, no, not the minivan.
Right.
They're trying to get rid of that stigma, but it's not going away that easily.
Exactly.
So, yeah, like you're saying, families are different. People want that space.
Yeah.
It's practical,
Practical.
but then also, I don't know, like you said, maybe a little status, maybe a little fear, all mixed up together.
Yeah.
It's not just in America either, by the way. This is happening everywhere.
Oh, wow. Really?
Which
Yeah.
brings up a whole other thing, electric cars.
Oh, right. Because this article mentions how GM is taking that same Kansas plant, the one where all those people are being laid off, and they're going to retool it to build the new Chevy Bolt EV.
Interesting.
So maybe it's like one door closes, another one opens.
Yeah.
What do you think? Is it that simple? I wish it was. But it's definitely not just a matter of switching out the equipment,
Right.
Building electric cars is a whole different ballgame. Like, literally everything is different. You need different skills, different technology. Even the pace of everything is different.
So break that down for us a bit. Like,
Yeah.
what exactly makes building electric vehicles so different from making regular cars?
Well, for one, the batteries. The technology behind them is super complex and it's constantly evolving.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
You need people who really know their stuff, and finding the materials for these batteries, that's still a work in progress.
Okay.
And then there's the software side. Cars these days are basically computers on wheels, right?
That's true.
So suddenly you need all these software people, data people, even cybersecurity experts. It's crazy. The whole auto industry is changing.
Wow. So for these workers at that plant in Kansas, this is a big deal, right?
Huge. And it's not just them, it's the whole industry that's going through this.
It really makes you think, can we even make this whole electric car thing happen without putting people out of work?
It's a tough question. Some people say that the new jobs from electric cars will make up for the old jobs that are disappearing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But it's not that easy.
Right, because these new jobs, they need different skills, right?
Exactly. It's like you can't just tell a mechanic to suddenly become a software engineer overnight.
Exactly. So what can we even do about it? Should there be big training programs, or maybe the government could help companies retrain their workers?
All of that would help, for sure.
Yeah.
We need to get creative. Maybe even rethink how we're teaching people skills in the first place. This isn't just a car industry problem anymore.
Right, bigger than that.
Way bigger.
Yeah.
This is about the future of work.
Okay, so let's switch gears a bit and talk about the cars themselves.
Sure.
This article mentions that the Malibu has been around for like 60 years.
Yeah, it's a classic. A lot of people grew up with the Malibu in the driveway.
Exactly. And it says here that Chevy is going to mainly focus on trucks, SUVs, and then the Corvette, of course. Do you think that's a good plan? I mean, can they really just give up on sedans entirely?
Well, the numbers don't lie. Sedans just aren't selling like they used to, at least not here.
Yeah, that's true.
But there's also the brand image to think about. Chevy is known for its trucks and SUVs. It's part of their identity.
Right. Although they did say they're keeping the Corvette.
Right, the Corvette is different.
It's like in its own category.
Exactly. It's what they call a halo car.
A halo car. What's that?
It's a car that's not really meant to sell in huge numbers. It's more about the image, the excitement, like, look what we can do. The Corvette does that for Chevy, but for the rest of their lineup, they're sticking with what they know. Trucks, SUVs, and more electric vehicles.
Which brings us back to the Bolt. They're putting a lot of hope in that car.
They are. The question is, can the Bolt really fill the void left by these classic cars?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I mean, the Bolt is a good car. Practical, affordable, but it doesn't have that same, excitement as a Camaro.
Exactly. It doesn't have that same emotional pull.
Right. It's not going to be in any car shows in a few decades,
Probably not. And I think GM knows that. This isn't about just swapping one car for another.
It's about something bigger.
Much bigger. It's about convincing people that electric cars can be cool, exciting, and the future.
So they're basically betting the farm on electric vehicles.
Pretty much. They're investing billions in it. They're going all in. Will it pay off? Well, that's a topic for another deep dive.
It's a pretty big gamble, for sure. But I guess everybody's kind of headed in the same direction, aren't they?
Definitely. And it's not even just about the cars at this point.
Right.
The article doesn't even get into it, but think about all the stuff that needs to change if we're going to have electric cars everywhere,
Yeah. Like what?
Charging stations, for one.
Oh, right.
And our whole power grid, it's massive.
Totally. Imagine, 20 years from now, you need gas, right?
Yeah.
You'll pull up will it even be a gas station anymore?
Who knows?
Maybe it'll be all charging stations, and where the convenience store used to be, there's just a Starbucks or something.
Yeah, or maybe some kind of futuristic smoothie bar.
Right. Okay, I have another one. What about the sounds of a city? Will we miss those? The engines revving, all that.
It's funny you should mention that. I was just thinking, will it be too quiet? I kind of like the sounds of a city.
A little bit, yeah.
Part of the experience.
It is.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, those classic car shows, the ones?
Yeah.
Rows and rows of beautiful Mustangs and Corvettes, all those old school muscle cars.
The classics.
Right. What happens to those in the future? Are we going to be looking at rows of Priuses, all quiet and shiny?
Maybe. But you're right, it makes you wonder, what will even be considered a classic in 30 years? Will it be a Tesla? Or that new electric truck? Or something totally different, something we haven't even thought of yet?
All right, let's not get too crazy.
Okay.
But seriously, this whole conversation has been pretty wild. We started with GM getting rid of a couple of cars, and now we're talking about the future of, everything. The sounds of our cities, what cars will be cool. It's a lot.
It really makes you think about the bigger picture, that's for sure. These choices that companies are making today, they're going to have a ripple effect.
Big time. So for everyone listening, we've thrown a lot of information at you today. We talk about why everyone's driving SUVs, the rise of electric cars, what it all means for workers, even how our world might sound different in a few years. Mm-hmm. It's a lot to process.
It is.
So here's a question for you to think about. Imagine you're in charge at a big car company, just like GM. What's your next move? What's your big, bold prediction about the future of how we get around? It's an interesting thing to think about because nobody really knows what's going to happen. Maybe one of you listening will be the one to figure it out.
There you go. The future is wide open.
Exactly. And that's all the road we have for today. Thanks for taking this ride with us. And until next time, keep those wheels turning.
See you next time.
And hey, if any of you happen to be cruising around in a classic Camaro, give that engine a rev for us, will ya?
So to sum it all up, General Motors is making these job cuts as they prepare for the shift to electric vehicle technology. It's a forced or a necessary change for the future of the industry, But it also raises concerns that as technology advances, we seem to need fewer people. Yeah, just like how I used AI to create this conversation. It wasn't perfect, but it was quick, efficient, and cost effective. This is the reality we're facing across all industries. Technology is doing more of the work, and that's something we need to be thinking about as we look at the future of jobs. What do you think?